Scary Sunday, and it looks like you're late. Oh, heck no. You think you about to waltz in here like you're on time? Wait, hold on. I know my eyes are deceiving me. Let me put my Easy Gang screeners on. Now available at... I'm looking at my time here, and everyone who's here within the first hour of the video being launched, I'm not talking to y'all. Matter of fact, let me get y'all a little clappy clap. Cause y'all was here on time, not to the rest of you. I thought we had an agreement. Maybe it was just me. And I still don't think you're taking me serious. It's been a while since I had to reach for this. Show up on time and slice the like button, alright? I don't like to be in this position. I don't like to threaten my own community, but I will. What's wrong with me? I'm sorry about that, guys. I think it's a little stressed out lately, I guess. Hello? It's you, huh? Tell me who I am. Edward Norton. Bingo. That's a good boy. How long has it been, old pal? I haven't heard from you ever since, Ah, yes. How could I forget? Let me out of here! Cory. No.
Sleep because I hadn't done anything.
Girl, stay back.
Then it started to move around the tent.
Bro, that thing Naruto running around the tent right now.
Remember when I said this was an old tent? Yeah, it had some holes in it.
Oh, fantastic. And you're probably cold, too. I mean, what if it rains?
One of the holes was the size of a quarter, and I decided to be brave. As it continues to walk around the tent a fourth time, I slowly crawled towards the hole and tried to take a look.
Why?
As I did this, my cousin told me to get back to the bed or it'll hurt us. Of course, as a kid, I ignored the warning. I'm at the quarter-size hole and looking out to see whatever it was. It comes around the hole, and what I saw was bone-chilling. Hide under my sleeping bag while my cousin does the same. This thing decided to stop moving and start looking at us again. I hid under the covers and spent every ounce of energy being scared. And
there's one fundamental thing that I'm not understanding here. Right when I first saw that thing, help! Help us! I mean, it's like 50 people inside. You're either gonna take your chance trying to stay quiet and this thing doesn't kill you, or you're gonna at least, if you gonna go, somebody gonna come out and see that junk, and then they can shoot it and do what they gotta do. It's just I look at this from a black perspective. When I'm threatened, I just yell automatically. I hear some, hey, who over there? Hey. That's just me. I'm not like, oh, shoot, we gotta be quiet. Like, it's certain situations for that, alright?
And then I finally fell asleep.
Oh, okay, so their way worked. Maybe my way would have got me 8. Alright. I think it just was standing over. We're sleeping in a tent again if I'm this guy. Ever.
I woke up early, maybe around 5, and I decided to look around the tent to see if there was anything there. I see footprints, bare footprints that sent shivers throughout my body. I saw the footprints move around the tent. This hit me hard because I was now realizing it wasn't a dream. As I further investigate the footprints, I noticed that it went off track. It went off to the rocky hills nearby where we were staying at. I followed the track to the hills, about a football field away from the house.
Why?
As I continue to follow the tracks, something strange and scary happens. It goes from two footprints walking for a while to footprints and handprints in the dirt starting to form. I found that kind of strange because no person would do that out here. As I followed the tracks further into the hills, the hands and feet started to get smaller and smaller. It then suddenly changed into coyote paw prints. That is when I stopped and turned back home, first walking fast, then onto a full-on run. When I got back, I sat down on the back porch for a while and thought about telling my family, but I didn't think that they would believe me. In the end, I didn't tell anyone, even the cousin I woke up in the middle of the night.
He's like, we don't talk about what happened.
Well, that's my story. I urge you guys to not go into the Navajo reservation to go looking for them. You will bite off more than you can chew. We, my people, take these beings very seriously and do our best to not talk about them. Even though I broke this code, I just thought to warn you guys about them. Whoever is listening are the first people to hear this story. I had a few more stories to tell, but this is by far the scariest one I had.
A Manchester horror story. I'm probably not gonna.
This is a story about how I became a 30-year-old male who is secretly afraid to be outside after dark in cities.
He's agoraphobe?
I live in Manchester, in the UK, and it's widely regarded as a relatively safe and multicultural city. Good transport, friendly locals, and plenty to do.
Okay.
I don't live there anymore, but I'm proud to be from there, and I will always have one hometown. This took place in 2016, and at the time I was working for a company that hired me to work on contracts.
You know.
So 4, 6, sometimes even 8 months abroad, and then 2 or 3 months at home. So when I was home, I made sure to see family and friends as much as possible, whether it be meeting and playing video games, a drink at the bar, playing sports, or traveling together.
Okay.
The incident took place when I was on my home after a night out drinking.
What the freak?
And I write this 4 years on since it happened. I still have PTSD from the incident. And think of this as my way of telling you all to be careful out there.
Okay.
As well as this being an opportunity for me to talk about it.
Gas on his head.
Those who know Manchester know about its quite frankly amazing tram system. It's affordable and easy to understand. There's a tram station right near to my apartment, just outside the city center. I'd been back in the country for 7 days and arranged to meet my friends in the city for a reunion of sorts. Drinking, dancing, and catching up. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I do.
It's important to note at this point that at the time there was a homeless gentleman that adopted the tram stop near my apartment as his own. He would always sit at the top of the stairs leading down to the platform, and whenever I used the tram, I would always see him without fail. It had even gotten to the point where we exchanged a friendly nod to each other every time.
Cool.
But this time, on the way to the city to meet my friends, everything changed.
What happened?
On any normal occasion, he would be sitting under the shelter at the top of the stairs, either asking passersby for money or just saying hello. But as I approached the top of the stairs, around 20 to 30 meters away, I saw him. And he stood up straight, almost too straight, with his chest out, just glaring right at me.
I'm going the other way.
Menacing way.
Going the other way.
His brow was furrowed, his jaw was clenched, and he was breathing heavily. I could see his chest rising up and down with speed from now 20 meters away. Maybe drugs was involved or something had angered him.
Yeah.
Why me? I thought. Now, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm 6 foot and athletic, but I don't believe violence is...
6 foot and athletic? Yeah, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm only 6 foot. If you 6 foot and bullied, try again. You're doing it wrong.
I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm 6 foot and athletic, but I don't believe violence is the answer in any case.
Hey, I too, but sometimes you gotta resort to it.
All
right?
The way this guy looked at me sent shivers down my spine. I immediately looked down after we made eye contact, and then looked ahead, because I thought maybe it was just a glance from him.
I'm looking at you, Daniel.
Then I looked back at him again. When I was even closer, his eyes were still on me.
Whoa!
This time they were wide, and he looked unhinged, like he was ready to attack. I looked away again.
Y'all know what time it is. When I came to this stage, somebody about to wake up on the stress. You think I'm supposed to be scared of you? Huh? Corvette.
Because at this point, I felt I had to ready and prepare myself for a potential confrontation with this guy.
Get ready.
When I was close to him, I looked back again, and he took a step forward, watching my every move, looking me up and down as if he was assessing my weaknesses. As I approached the top of the staircase, he was turning his head as I moved. I knew that this was not normal behavior from him, or anyone for that matter. I thought I have to address this, because he's freaking me out, so I stopped, met his gaze, and pointed my body towards him just before I went down the stairs. I calmly asked him, "Is everything okay, mate? Can I help you with something?" Nothing. I got absolutely nothing as he looked into my eyes. I could hear his fast breathing at this point through his nose, and he looked like he was having some sort of episode. So I moved on and quickly went down the stairs.
Get out of there, man.
What the f*** has gotten into this guy? I thought. I almost felt bad for him. At the halfway point of the stairs, I looked behind me to see him standing at the top, looking down.
You feeling froggy?
I could only describe the look he gave me as bone-chilling. He looked like a predator that had found his prey. I kept moving as I didn't know if this guy had a weapon or what his intentions were at this point. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I turned around again. To my shock, he had walked 4 to 5 steps down, still standing and glaring at me with the same disturbed and angered look. He was clearly stalking me now.
Yeah.
I could feel my heartbeat in my ears, and sweat was forming on my forehead and palms. Luckily for me, the platform was very busy, and the tram I needed to catch was approaching. So I quickly immersed myself amongst the crowd of people getting onto the tram and found a seat. Wouldn't you know it, when I sat down and the tram started moving, I looked back towards the bottom of the staircase, and there he was, just glaring at me with this horrendous, sinister grin on his face.
Who wronged you?
I did not feel safe. The entire journey to the city, I felt on edge, anxious, and all I could do was think about that guy. When I eventually got there, my friends automatically picked up on the fact that I seemed a little off.
Yeah.
So I told them about the situation I was just in, which they just dismissed, saying that I was probably just being paranoid and that he'll be gone by the time I get back home.
Well, why don't you come with me
I
then?
agreed with them because I realized that he is usually only there during the daytime, so I enjoyed the night. We all drank, laughed, and even met some cute girls. Before I knew it, I was hammered, to the point where I had to look at my phone with one eye closed. My balance was off, and I felt like I could throw up at any second. It was around midnight and time to go home, so I said goodbye to my friends and arranged to meet the next weekend due to the success of this one. The last tram was approaching, and I had to run drunk as a skunk to make it in time. I got onto the tram, and when I got a seat and caught my breath, I remembered what happened at the tram station on the way back to the city. I felt sober suddenly, and I was honestly on the verge of an anxiety attack, until I remembered that I never usually see the guy late at night,
Oh, you about to
which was
see him
comforting
tonight.
for the remainder of my journey. The tram arrived at my stop, and I got off. I just stood there for a second, surveying my surroundings. The platform was empty. The skies were clear, although dark. The air was warm, and the only sounds were the nearby traffic and the tram leaving the platform. I remember it like it was yesterday. I looked towards the bottom of the staircase and the platform leading to the street, and I took a deep breath. I approached the stairs and looked towards the top. Much to my relief, he wasn't there.
He laying down up there, so you can't see.
Stage 2 was easy. get to my building, which was about 150 meters away from the stairs.
Okay.
As I slowly walked up the stairs, trying to make as little noise as possible, my heart was in my throat. All I could think about was what I would do if he was there.
Bro,
I was drunk and I didn't think fast enough. I arrived at the top and looked to my left, and what do you know? He's there. And as soon as I look at him, his head snaps, and he's looking me in the eyes with the same terrifying look.
He's
Foaming at the mouth like he's won a prize.
down.
He stands up slowly and turns to face his body towards me. At this point, I realized how tall he was. About 6'2", huge gray
2
and
inches
dirty
on you,
beard,
nothing.
almost skinny with a lean body type. I was almost pissing myself. So to break the tension, I just nodded at him and told him, "Good night, mate." And I walked on quickly towards my apartment. I suddenly heard a deep, hoarse voice say, "You got any spare change?" Loud and obnoxious. Which I turned and replied quickly whilst I was walking backwards. "No, mate. Sorry.
Sorry.
Have a good night, though." And walked on again. I was free, and my anxiety was disappearing. All I was thinking about was getting to my building as fast as possible. Then, I heard what felt like the loudest, most aggressive voice ever. "Hi!" I stopped, and I turned around so fast because he made me jump. It scared me. He was holding a knife, and it was pointed directly towards me. Nightmare scenario is playing out now, and I held my breath as he walked slowly towards me.
Run!
I was definitely sober now, and I weighed up the options.
Run.
I run and take a risk,
Yeah.
or I start to negotiate with him. I thought, there's an ATM nearby, I could get some money and just go home. He was around 5 meters away, with the knife pointing towards
Yeah,
me.
he's letting him
I
walk
wasn't
towards
going
you.
to let myself die like this. He then said, "I'm going to ask you again. Do you have any spare change?"
No, I
I
don't.
couldn't tell whether I wanted to throw up or cry, but I had to get out of this situation. No one else was around that I could see or hear, and it was on me to get out of this. I said to him, "Look, there is an ATM." I couldn't even finish my sentence because he had thrown the knife in my face. It hit me in my eye, cutting me in my eyebrow, taking a chunk of skin clean off, and there was blood in my eye, partially blinding me, and there was blood all over my face almost immediately. I was blinded and breathless. I fell to one knee in shock, and I barely saw the knife in front of me on the ground through my drunken, shocked, and partially blinded state. So I reached for it as fast as I could. But it was too late. He had already picked it up and tackled me to the ground. I yelled and uttered a deep shout for help down the street as he tackled, holding the knife. A sound I didn't know I was capable of making. But the
This dude says something. That's the only sound that will probably just come out of you in a situation. You never knew you could make that sound. Did you hear what I just produced? Never in my life have I made that sound.
adrenaline was coursing through my veins now. He had the knife in his right hand and plunged it down towards my face. And the only thing I could do was I screamed in pain as the guy was on top of me. He had put the knife clean through my hand, in between the knuckles of my middle and index fingers, to be specific. I started to push back, realizing how much stronger I was than him. The tip of the blade was about 5 inches from my face. And then, a miracle happened. I heard the voices of a group of people yelling, "Hey, stop!" Accompanied with their fast-running feet towards me on the tarmac. The guy's grip on the knife was weak suddenly, and he looked behind himself, clearly seeing the group approaching. They shouted again, yelling, "Get off him!" And he jumped off of me. Unfortunately for me, he took the knife with him and ripped it out of my hands as he jumped to his feet and swiftly ran into the nearby woods. There were 5 people in total who came to my rescue. Two of them initially chased the guy into the woods before I shouted, "No, he has a knife!" And hearing me say this, they let him go and started to call the police.
You do look like nerds.
This incident changed me for the better, and I wake up every day appreciating everything in my life. After the incident, I was rushed to the hospital and I had surgery to reattach the nerves in my hand 2 days later. The guy who attacked me is in prison now for attempted murder.
Good.
The police showed after the incident within 5 minutes, and full credit to them. They found the guy hiding in the woods, still holding the knife behind a tree, and they managed to subdue and arrest him on the spot. He was on a cocktail of drugs, and he openly admitted to the police that he fully intended to kill me if he had the opportunity. But this incident was simultaneously the best and worst thing that ever happened to me.
How?
The best, because I appreciate life so much more now. I talk to those I love every single day. All life is precious. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, and we are all mortal. Stay safe and alert, and do not waste a moment, as you don't know who's going to be waiting around the corner.
Yo, you speaking facts at the end, though. That was amazing. I used to work the graveyard shift at a Dunkin' Donuts. For those of you who don't know what a Dunkin' Donuts is, it's basically a donut chain that sells coffee, breakfast items, and of course, donuts. This animation is so good. This brings me to a little over a month ago when our location was recently selected to become 24 hours. A lot of other establishments would maintain a 24-hour drive-through window, but ours was fully open. Dang. I'll be honest, it was interesting to see the new types of customers who would come in during these hours. We, of course, had the hipsters and goths who had nothing better to do at 3 a.m. than to sit in a coffee shop drinking 1 cup for an hour. There were the occasional overworked businessmen and interns trying desperately to finish that last-minute presentation.
You got great chicken spaghetti at home? No. How many do I have? Just answer the question. How many do I have?
A couple weeks ago, I had encountered a new type of customer, though he is very difficult to describe. Have you ever met someone that makes you nervous for some unknown reason? Yeah. Well, at around 2:30 a.m., a man walked in with a large overcoat, with the collar pulled up, and a black beanie on his head. What struck me as odd first was the last time a man walked in with a large overcoat, with the collar pulled up, and a black beanie on his head. What struck me as odd first was the lack of people in our lobby. Nor at this time we'd have the goths huddled in the corner cursing the system or something. But the entire store was empty aside from this man, myself, and my managers in the back. Probably sleeping or something. After this person walked in, I thought it had to be a homeless man, trying to escape the cold and possibly seek out a hot cup of pity. Homeless man? But then I saw his face. He too well dressed, gaunt, but cleanly shaven. His eyes had dark circles around them as if he were tired, but he seemed quite energized. He then walked up to the counter. At that moment, I realized how tall this guy was. Like Kobe tall. I asked him what he would like to order. He just stared straight ahead as if he were zoning out. Hello. I repeated my question a bit louder. He only said one word. Coffee. Okay. I got you. The man then leaned down and looked me in the eye and asked me if I was alone. No. I told him I wasn't, that my manager was in the back room. He then pulled out a few crumpled up dollar bills, handed it to me, and then walked back out of the door without taking his coffee with him. What the freak? As soon as he left the building, I felt this intense atmosphere lift up from around me. I quickly rushed to the back and told my manager about the whole situation, to which he told me to put the man's money aside in case he comes back for it. The next night, everything was back to normal. The usual. Yo, tell me this doesn't look like Steven Universe. Look like Garnet or Sapphire. I don't know them characters. Well, customers sat in their respective seats sipping their coffee. While I was keeping myself busy and mopping the floor, I couldn't help but think about the interaction I had last night. Oh. That's when I happened to look out of our front window. Bro, what do you want? I saw him. He was. Your coffee is on the counter. Streetlight. He was just standing there staring at me. I turned to see if my manager was behind the counter, and when I looked back, he was gone.
Oh, this guy.
At that point, I was starting to feel unnerved. My last night working there was the worst by far. And also the reason I quit. I had arrived to work and relieved the people working before me. That's when I received a call from my manager telling me that he had a family emergency and would be a few hours late.
Oh, great.
I was upset, but there wasn't much I could do, so I just said all right. After 3 uneventful hours of me cleaning the same racks over and over again to keep my mind off things, I glanced out of the window once more.
Yep. You
When
know
I
who
saw
that
him,
is?
my blood turned to ice.
You know who it is?
Oh my God! Towards the other side of he was grinning at me with a sinister smile that caused my heart to seize up. Right away, I pulled out my cell phone and called the police. While my phone was ringing, the man did something strange. Without peeling his eyes from the glass, he pulled out a cell phone from his pocket. I watched very carefully as he began to type something into the phone without even looking at it.
Look at him!
At that moment, my phone buzzed, notifying me of a text. The message said, "Now you're alone."
Oh! So that guy got to the boss, killed him presumably, and took his phone, and then texted the guy off of the... Yo, let's do it. Hulu presents Halloween Film Fest. The Hug. Yo. Hey. Slow down. Yo, this is like, come on. Chuck E. Cheese, Five Nights at Freddy's. Yo. And crazy. And pizza palace. Yo. This how the snap.
You know, they just had to put on a show for us.
What? What did he say? Oh, make a panda put on the show for us. Hold on, guys. Android's on his dinner break. He'll be back in an hour.
Oh, come on. Really, dude?
Yeah, really. Yo, he off. Freaking. Sorry, kid. It's dinner time. Even pandas gotta eat.
It's a freaking robot. My birthday. I want to plan the show now. Yeah.
Hold up. Whose man's is it? Got your little gang back there. We got Air Slick to the side, emo boy, and then she just back there.